Welcome to the Flight Club Podcast, a woman's guide to leaning out. We give you a behind-the-scenes look at business launch and growth through the stories of successful female entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Felina Hansen, founder and CEO of Hera Hub.
Hello and welcome. This is Vanessa L. Wild, hosting today on behalf of Felina Hansen. I'm excited to introduce you today to our guest, Teresa Barnes. Teresa, are you there? Hello.
I am. Hi, Vanessa. How are you?
Hi. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to go ahead and share with our folks a little bit about your background, and then I'm so excited to talk to you and learn a little bit more about your business and the amazing service you're providing the community, the business community. So,
thank
Teresa,
you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Teresa, you are a former RN. Is that correct?
I'm a former emergency room manager. I'm still an RN.
Okay, great. Thank you.
What?
And you are also the founder of HearCommunication, which is a business educational company. HearCommunication helps businesses connect with the hearing impaired via a hearing-friendly training and certification program. Teresa is, as you just said, a registered nurse and a former emergency room manager with more than 20 years of experience in healthcare and business. Teresa has also had hearing loss since birth and understands the unique challenges of this condition in life and in business. So you come with an incredible background to serve this community and market, and I'm super excited to hear about your business. So I'd love for you to share with us a little bit about what got you to the point that you decided you wanted to take take the leap as an entrepreneur into this market and actually start helping companies and employees communicate better with each other.
Well, as you've stated, I have had a hearing loss since birth. And I took my children snow skiing up in Mammoth Mountain. I ended up getting potentially a life-threatening accident. And an artist neighbor over a glass of red wine, when I shared that story, and another equally embarrassing, humiliating story with my daughter, she said, "Teresa, they can't see hearing loss." And when I did that research, I discovered that there were 65 other million Americans dealing with this particular health and social issue that hasn't been addressed yet. So that's why
65 million Americans?
65 million Americans if you take the extrapolation from a Johns Hopkins medical study that states it's 1 out of 5 Americans that have hearing loss.
Okay.
And the people in wheelchairs are 2.2. And I can go on and on with numbers, but that's what it is. So I would like to take hearing loss awareness to the 21st century like heart health was in the 20th.
Okay. Thank you for making that distinction. And that kind of indicates exactly how important this is, and in a way, how far behind we are in servicing this community and making sure that everybody's communicating together and safely. So thank you for that. So
Welcome.
At that point, you have this serious accident, and then you decided that this was your next path.
It was one of those defining moments in life. So I did register what I'm calling the hearing friendly decal. It's an ear with a question mark. So how is your hearing? Is it mild, moderate, severe, profound? Or are you temporarily hearing impaired while you're cycling or skiing with earbuds in? So you can wear some sort of decal on your body to let people see that. And also in the workforce, there's a lot of hearing loss discrimination where people get what's called bad job performance reviews when it's nothing more than hearing loss hasn't been accommodated for because managers don't see it. I've now evolved that symbol into an attraction magnet for businesses. And so I'm helping businesses become hearing friendly trained and certified because we are a $1.7 trillion missed market opportunity. So that's how much money we're worth. And then we have ADA laws behind us now as well, 2010, that includes people that wear hearing aids and cochlear implants. So it's better to put out a little bit of money for hearing-friendly training than those horrible lawsuits. So to become, to understand hearing loss. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of folks don't understand actually what hearing loss is. And you shared that there's a lot of different kinds of hearing loss. One of the things that I was reading as I was kind of researching the industry was that there is actually a difference between an individual being deaf and someone who is experiencing hearing loss. Can you tell me just a little bit about what that difference is?
Well, the simplistic 101 term is deaf is an absence of hearing, and that comes from Dr. Jeffrey Smith, who is a retired MD, who's ENT, who's on my advisory board. So that's his definition. And then the World Health Organization states that when you have a 0.25 decibel hearing loss, that is a mild hearing loss. That is a whisper. And even children in school situations, and also employees and people in general, if they can't hear at a 0.25 decibel hearing loss, that means they're missing their consonants and their vowels. So as they're sitting there in the classroom, we'll use that example, or in customer service, they're trying to figure out, did you say may, gay, gay, say, way? What exactly did that person say? And so they may answer totally wrong. And then it just progresses as you get your hearing loss even more severe.
So I can relate to that on the side that so my father experienced hearing loss. He started getting tinnitus when he was in the music industry in a recording studio. And talking with him over the last few years has been very challenging because there's a lot that he wasn't able to hear until he got a hearing aid. And it made all the difference in communicating with him.
Yeah. Well, I don't have the statistical proof from this, but I was told by a man that according to a Mayo Clinic study, then if someone is supposed to wear hearing aids and they don't wear them, then it basically shrinks the brain the size of a sugar cube, to give you an example for that. So it's just like any other organ. If you don't use it, you lose it. It atrophies. And hearing loss is our first sense, it's our fastest sense, and it's our last sense. So according to the United States government, both sight and vision determine the qualities of our life. So thank goodness your dad got hearing aids like he was supposed to, so that you now can communicate better with him.
Yeah, I know. I really missed talking to him, and I missed having a response from him. So I would imagine for companies, to your point, I would imagine that for companies, for folks who may be experiencing hearing loss and the companies that they're working with, that this causes a lot of miscommunication and frustration. So I would say, is that one of the biggest challenges facing employees with hearing loss, is miscommunication? Or is there another challenge that I don't know about that they're facing in the workplace?
Okay. They're facing a couple. So they are facing communication difficulties. And so I teach hearing-friendly communication skills, and with that, identifying traits for people that have hearing loss. There is still a huge stigma involved with hearing loss. And so therefore, people don't know that they have the right to request that human resources give them the accommodations they need. And sometimes there's hearing loss discrimination between how manager A treats somebody and how manager B treats somebody. So we need to get that awareness out there so that people with hearing loss know what their rights are, but also so that managers can address this issue, because not addressing the hearing loss issue, businesses are losing $100 billion with a B dollars per year in productivity. And then they're losing both their customer base sometimes, because like in your father's case, maybe that person on the other end was a millennial, and maybe they were talking too fast, so your dad couldn't understand. So therefore, he would get frustrated, and he wouldn't go back to that particular business for that reason. Might not have been anything else, but that can easily be corrected with hearing-friendly training. So it's not a complicated process. And then some businesses, such as the restaurant industry and also manufacturing, and also noisy places like airports, are sometimes actually they don't understand that they're actually causing hearing loss. So for the restaurant industry, if a person works for 8 hours, and even inside an office environment for 8 hours, where the decibel levels are 85, it insidiously eats away your cochlear hair cells. And people aren't aware of that. And people don't know that there are personal care products like toothpaste and cosmetic products that eat away their cochlear hair cells. And
So
what they need to do.
Okay, I'd love to actually just hear a little bit more about the noise level in public places, and then also what you just shared about personal care products, because I think people would be really interested in hearing a little bit more about that. Now, we all know going to a concert, or back when I was 20, I used to go to raves and I would stick my head in a speaker and dance. And I had a blast.
My daughter did too, so I can relate to that.
but part of that was that incredible boom, and the sound was just so fun and energizing. But I always felt like this is probably dangerous for my eardrums. Now that's the extreme, right? Where we're at a concert and you're just totally enthralled with the music and you love the way that sounds or feels. But you're talking about everyday normal things that people do that could be contributing to hearing loss. Is that correct?
Well, I'm talking about office environments, but equally so if you were to go to basketball games or even noisy restaurants. And there was a study done by a little 13-year-old that she got tinnitus, like your dad at 9 years old, from a bathroom hand dryer. So she decided to do a clinical study on this and discovered that other children were putting their hands over their ears when they were using bathroom hand dryers. And then some children were refusing to use them. So when she tested them, some of the bathroom hand dryers were as high as 121 decibels, which can blow out your hearing almost instantly, as well as basketball games, football games, goal games. So it goes beyond listening to music, but just in regular work environments, like restaurants, if they're listening to sound for more than 85 decibels, it can insidiously eat away their cochlear hair cells. But noise is the number one cause for hearing loss.
I had no idea. So thank you for sharing that. It gives me a little bit of an urgency, right, to bring earplugs to a concert and the next time I'm at an airport. So thank you for that.
Hold on the other part. A second. Can I just insert this? There's a company called Vibes, like in Victory, Ice Cream, Boys, ES.com, and they're what's called high fidelity earplugs, which you can hear still at 72 decibels. They let you hear sound and block out the noise. And those are they're $19.99 on the web. So those are great ones I've heard about.
Okay, so that's a great solution for our listeners and our community, of course, to go there. So thanks for sharing that. Now, the part that I really am fascinated by are the amount of toxins in our products. And so when you say that personal care products can affect our hearing, are you talking about, what are you talking about? Is it the toxic chemicals in these products that are decreasing our hearing, or what actually do you mean by that?
There is a product called sodium lauryl sulfate. It has 22 different chemical names. If you want to take the product called L'Oreal shampoo, it says right there on the front, sulfate free. You turn it over, and there's that chemical word, sodium lauryl sulfate. So there is a site called S like in Sam, L like in love, S like in Sam, free, FREE.com. And that site lets you know what toothpaste is good, what makeup is good. It doesn't go into industrial products, but that's item number one. So it's something that you have control over. So even makeup, it's like I use it because I know it has no sodium lauryl sulfate products in it at all for my makeup. So that's what I use.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. So we have the high fidelity hearing aids or earplugs and
Earplugs,
slsfree.com, just a couple of resources for folks.
yeah.
So
Right.
thank you. So I want to get back to your business now because
Okay.
you are an amazing entrepreneur. You are one of the most persistent and you have really stuck with this business, and I love your vision. I've seen you working at Hera Hub for years now, and you have come so far. So I'd love to hear a little bit more, if you would share with us exactly what your trainings are, and when you talk about teaching them hearing friendly skills, can you tell me a little bit about what that means?
Well, basically, with what I've done so far is this last year, in fact, in July, I was on KUSI TV with Mayor Jones. So in July, next year, we're going to have Hearing Friendly Business Month be in that particular month. And we're going to do that on a national scale. And so hearing friendly skills are basically where you do face-to-face speaking with the individual. You want to make sure, say, if you're in a hospital room, that your back, the hearing impaired person's back, is to the window. And because we are usually lip reading, whether they know it or not, that's what they're doing. And then to speak at what I call a 45 miles per hour limit, where we do doop, 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 Dan alive, Dan alive. It's the same rhythm we do for CPR. And so it's just a slightly slower rhythm so that we can pick up what those vowels and consonants are. And then I teach identifying traits. We oftentimes will answer wrong. We sometimes will say what or huh often. We also may answer totally inappropriate or off topic. So a good way to discover us is to use active communication skills. So describe this picture to me. And then if they answer, because if you answer yes or no, then it's not going to work. And I was at a meeting this past Sunday where a lady with a cochlear implant says that she now has a disruptive relationship with her sister because they went on a trip to Europe and the brother-in-laws were commenting on something, and whatever they said, she didn't understand. And she didn't bother to reconfirm what they said. She sat there and chose to smile. And so her sister is now irritated at whatever the comments were and refusing to speak to her, not realizing that this woman just smiled, because after a while you get so tired of asking people to repeat everything. But it's good if you're in a conversation to even write it down or to be assertive if you're on the hearing impaired side. And if it's something you really want the person to understand, then say it slowly and succinctly to their face, and then confirm that they've heard.
Well, those are great tips. Thank you for sharing that. I would imagine that would be so helpful for your trainings for managers and HR professionals, anyone who is working with folks on a day-to-day basis in the workplace. So thank you so much for sharing that. There's so many things here that I have never really considered because I haven't been in that situation until my dad experienced hearing loss. So, and I think there's a lot of folks that just don't know what to do. And I appreciate you sharing with us some of these tips, because I think that they relate to all of us and how we communicate, not just in the workplace, but like you're saying, within our families or communities, helping each other communicate better. So I want to
even as the flight club travels, then this is something that I have been in touch with Ed Bastian, who is the Delta CEO, as well as this past Wednesday, I presented to the San Diego Airport Commission. So it's something that we need to get this where it's also helped with travel, because the one thing that the hearing impaired, that 1.7 trillion like to do, they love to travel, they love to dine, and they love to shop. So you want to attract them to your business by having a hearing-friendly decal, even on your website or at your location or someplace, to let them know that you're here to welcome them in and to serve them the best way you can.
And so the decal is set to your mission. This is your mission, right? Is to have these hearing-friendly companies have this decal in the front of the store where people know if they go in the folks working there or helping them or supporting or serving them are going to know how to do that. Is that correct?
That's correct. So just like
Okay.
the wheelchair symbol, so same thing, or BBB, so same premise.
Okay. I think that's great. I mean, people are used to, we all understand that there are a lot of different folks out there, and we want to, for the most part, businesses want to accommodate and help everyone come in and enjoy the experience. So you are making that possible here in San Diego, and it sounds like a pretty huge accomplishment, making a hearing friendly month that's going national. That's a pretty big accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
so I'd love to know
hearing friendly zones in restaurants. Everyone is welcome in that. So people with autism need a quieter place in restaurants. They need a quieter place in the football games, but in restaurants in particular, post-traumatic stress syndrome people need a quieter place. People with hearing loss, and then there's a thing called hyperacoustic. So that whole group, whoever wants a quieter place to conserve their hearing, kind of like the premise between the non-smoking rooms and the smoking rooms, it would be good to have a section inside of restaurants that are ADA compliant so that we can hear with our hearing aids, but also that people with anxiety disorders can share that space with us because they need a quiet environment too.
That's amazing and incredibly considerate. I would love to see businesses take on those kinds of challenges and step up and accommodate more people like that. Thank you for bringing that to our awareness. I want to get to you as a businesswoman. If we can divert a little bit, you've given us a lot of great education, but I want to know a little bit about you as a businesswoman. This can't have been an easy task or mission for you to take on. I'd love to know what is your biggest challenge that you face as an entrepreneur, and maybe as a female entrepreneur. Would you share what is the biggest challenge you've faced so far?
Well, to begin with, I started out with a nonprofit, the International Association for the Hearing Challenge. And oftentimes when I talk about this topic, people automatically think that I am a nonprofit or organization. And so as an entrepreneur, it's been a little bit challenging because people have pointed out, well, your team is not really large enough always to serve our needs. And I'm saying, well, that's okay. We have enough people that have been trained as trainers to accommodate that particular need. And as a female, because I have the background that I have as a former emergency room manager, I haven't really had much discrimination against that. If anything, I have used that particular, I'll say I've used my attractiveness to be able to open some doors. And so I have used that because I've needed to, and so that's worked for me. And I do know about boundaries, so that's something that I put in place more than once. But it's something that it's just a matter of, this is a topic that a lot of people haven't heard about before, and they always want to revert to that, what they can do for great grandpa Eddie. And I do care about great grandpa Eddie, but as a woman who's an entrepreneur, I care about the 2.2 million veterans that have come back with hearing loss that need to be hired. I care as a woman, female entrepreneur about children not getting hearing loss just because of ignorance from businesses. And then for some reason, they think that it's for free. And I don't know why they would think it's for free. I mean, we pay
so you're
for
saying
training
companies
all the
think
time.
So companies think that your services are free?
Yeah, because I had a woman just this past Wednesday say, well, is this for free? And I've had that said to me more than once. And I'm like, no, this is not for free. And do you want to pay a little bit for training, or do you want to pay a lot for hearing loss discrimination? I mean, I've known about this law for 9 years. And I have a 57% hearing loss, so I could sue them all.
So no, that's a great point that you just brought up too, is a little bit of training goes a long way, and to gain traction and credibility and respect. So I hear you saying that as a woman, you have faced a little bit of the challenge of being taken seriously. And of course, being paid for your services. And I think that that is something a lot of female entrepreneurs have experienced at some point in our journeys. I've experienced similar I've had similar experiences early on in my career. So it sounds like what you're doing, like working with KUSI and really building out this educational component, that you're building a lot of credibility. And would you say that you're overcoming these challenges now?
I am, yes, and it feels great.
I bet it does. So I'd like to hear.
Time.
It's about time. Exactly. And we all want to hear that. Like there is, being an entrepreneur is not easy, and there's a lot to juggle. And there's, again, women are in a position where we're trying to prove ourselves to some degree. And you are amazing at what you do. And you are so thorough and considerate in the details and the way you talk about this and the educational component. It does sound like you also have some pretty big accomplishments. So I'd love for you to share with us like your number one biggest accomplishment, something you're just super proud of that you've overcome and accomplished in your business.
Well, I got the Carlsbad Chamber, which is the 10th largest chamber in California. So they are number 2 here in San Diego, but I got them to be certified, trained, and that was a huge accomplishment because the board of directors, which is people like Viastat and several other businesses, decided they actually approved this. And then I have gotten numerous proclamations, both from the San Diego County Board of Supervisors. So that entire group endorsed this, which is another huge win.
Congratulations.
And then Mayor Jones, of course, did her proclamation, where she addressed it both from a business angle, and then she addressed it from what we need to do for seniors to keep them active as well. And then she also for the children. So, and then I wrote a book.
You wrote a book?
I wrote a book, yeah.
So you are an author on top of being an entrepreneur and an advocate for the hearing loss community.
I am, yes.
Okay. Well, I'd love for you to tell us what your website information is and the name of your book so that we can direct people to your website to gain more information if there is someone out there listening who has a company that this is an appropriate training for. And I would imagine any company that has employees or customers is an appropriate company to take your training. So please tell us what your website is.
My website is here as in HEAR, communication, COMMUNICATION.com.
Perfect. Thank you. And what is the name of your book?
It's called Sound Advice, Tune into Listening. Because listening is what Alan Alda said is going to make everybody change. So we need to get you to tune into listening.
I think that that's brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that. What is one piece of advice you have for female entrepreneurs, women out there who are either starting their business or maybe, have a few years of experience? What's one thing that you want them to know?
There's my birthday was this past week, and there are flowers I got from Farm Girl. And there's a thing that says, go get there. And it basically has the can do it symbol with the woman with her arm up. So I say, if you've got a vision, you've got a dream, then stick with it and surround yourself with other successful entrepreneurs as you're plowing up the hill, and then make your splash as big as you can.
I love that. I feel inspired right now myself. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you can do it, ladies and gentlemen.
You can do it. Yes.
Whoever's listening.
Yeah.
Well, Teresa, you are so generous with your time today. I really appreciate you educating us about hearing loss community, what you do for your business, why it's important. And I look forward to seeing you around Hera Hub.
Well, thank you so much. I'll see you as well, Vanessa.
Okay.
Thank you for joining this week's episode of Flight Club, sponsored by Hera Hub. We look forward to sharing more success stories with you soon.